and Swindlemelon's trying to get each other DQ'd and pushing hard for that forfeit win or any kind of advantage, really, as Swindles put it. The teams actually have 30 minutes leniency to get in the lobby, which is like pretty unheard of, I would say, for any modern tournament rules. But they managed to beat the 30-minute clock with time to spare.
You know what would be super bad manner if you made them wait 30 minutes and then gave them the def win for game number 1 and then made them wait the maximum amount of time for game number 2 and then just stomped them 2-0. That'd be the ultimate bad manner.
The ultimate BM.
Yeah.
I can get that.
You're like, we don't even need this win, and then just use have level 3 draft penalty for no reserve time.
And then you have to make sure to all chat and let them know. You can even tell them what you're doing, too, just to really get inside their head. But they're not going to resort to that. So it is a new Team Freedom here. Some different faces joining the squad with the disbanding of Kaipi, or not disbanding, but restructuring. They've lost Fluff. He's come back into the American fold. I think he is back on U.S. soil now. And once again, Fluff and IX Mike on a team together. Feels like we've seen this a lot over the years. Are we caught in like some sort of time loop or something? Will this time be different, Ben?
I have no idea. With tomato and banana slam jam, I had a banana too, so I ate all the appropriate food today. So
those are the key too, you know. BSJ, what are your thoughts on BSJ? He's very controversial with like casual Dota fans. Obviously, when his stream first started, he was extremely educational, very mild-mannered. He kind of started to show off his more salty side, I guess you could say, as time's gone on. What do you think of him and his competitive career so far?
I watched him. I've been watching actually him for a while when he was back on Jimmy's team, and he was really inexperienced back then in terms of it's kind of the pub star trying to go competitive, and then they just make a bunch of novice mistakes. But he is really good with a few select heroes like Terrorblade and Slark. I think he's particularly good with, way better than Justin with, if I had to compare the two. And the other ones I just haven't actually seen too much. So he's probably less versatile than Justin, but the heroes that he does play, I think he's better at. So, if he can expand his pool a little bit and expand a little bit and play a lot more competitive, then he has
But
an opportunity.
you do think he has some potential. It's more just, can he take it to that next step?
As with most NA players that have talent, it's just really hard finding a team to develop yourself because all the good teams already have, their standard 5 and they just like rotate in and out, or they grab better talent from Europe.
Well, draft now underway. I guess we can turn our attention to that here. So Freedom first picking the Jug. This hero has been very popular across pretty much every region. Very safe carry, something that can go mid. We've seen aggressive Jug lanes. We've seen them left in the safe lane, also getting help. Can run them in a push lineup. Can play him more as like a late game carry with some ganking potential. So very flexible opening for them. compLexity, though, they grabbed the IO, and obviously they have a great potential IO player here in Z-Freak, and then the Leshrac. Now, I haven't gotten to cast much of this team. How do they run it? Is this support?
Swindle support Leshrac. I think Moo plays it off lane occasionally too, but during the qualifiers it was a lot of Swindle's Leshrac, and he buys a lot of support items like Arcane, Mech, Pipe. Was it Pipe? I don't know. Some sort of items like that. But the point is he gets a lot of farm. They actually don't fight with him a lot of the times, and he just like split pushes, and he gets max edict, I believe, very early on and pushes towers. So I guess you could say he's like... We saw the THD last night coming out from Newbie. It's somewhat similar to that, except he team fights a little bit less and he farms a little bit more. But similar role, just AoE damage from afar and very heavy tower push.
All right, well, let's see if Freedom can punish it. They go back into the Undying, and now we enter the second phase of bans with Batrider being removed by compLexity. In turn, the Legion Commander getting banned out by Freedom. Lich, of all heroes, does get banned. Now, Lich, normally we see this hero mainly just to win the laning stage. I guess a little bit for the Frost Armor, and that obviously can slow down the push slightly, but Lich is not... I don't think I saw a single Lich pick or ban the entire SEA or China qualifier, so at least in those regions, He is just ignored. Why the Lich ban?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen too much Lich myself. There's no melee heroes, which Frost Armor is really good against, at least prior to the Void pick, and there's also very little physical damage. I guess maybe they wanted to protect the towers from the Edict, actually. That's probably my best bet, actually. It's kind of the only thing that I can reasonably expect a Lich ban to come out, aside from getting crushed in the early game, which I don't really think compLexity are that scared of. They have a Wisp to shore up their lanes, and if Team Freedom go for Undying and Lich, then they're like very heavy in the early game. But protect our towers, I suppose.
So compLexity back into the Void. Obviously decent damage already to dump into that Chrono with the Lash. And Freedom don't really have a great save here so far for the Chrono. They do have the Undying Soul Rip, which is okay, but not great by any means.
He can also punish a Juggernaut. I think one of the reasons why they like Void here is he has two ways to stop the Juggernaut from spin TPing, and it's also just very easy to focus him down if he's caught in the Chronosphere.
Yeah, meanwhile Freedom, we saw this yesterday, even more high priority in that new BIG series was the Rubik as a counter to big team fight spells, whether it's Burrow Strike, Chronosphere. Didn't work out in game number 2 at least, but still seems to be a hero whose stock has been rising as of late.
And anti-push versus Leshrac and IO.
That's definitely true.
You want some wave clear. These melee heroes are not going to cut it when it comes to stalling out the tower defense.
So pick number 4 for compLexity. How much do they commit to the push? The Dragon Knight already got banned, so Freedom clearly worried a bit about it. But still, I mean, who else is out there that's a great pusher? Death Prophet has some synergy with the Chrono, albeit a very long cooldown. We've seen, I guess, Razor.
They could
pseudo pushing carry.
They could experiment with Sniper a little bit. Sniper is somewhat of a counter to Undying. It's just super easy to kill the Tombstone, and also like Shrapnel is not to be underrated in the team fight. But
oh, that's definitely a hard pusher. Not one we've seen much of lately, but Terrorblade and Freedom, they don't have that anti-illusion here yet. Main ones that are available, well, Sand King got banned, I was going to mention him, but Timbersaw is the other big one. But kind of tough against the Void with the time dilation, the Chrono.
It's still very good versus the IO, though. So it could be a nice frontliner for them.
Are you super worried about that push with the heroes they have so far?
No, because I think they can just aggro the Terrorblade. These three can actually just destroy a Terrorblade, even with a Wisp helping him. Like the Undying is very good versus the Wisp. You don't really want the IO lane to be versus the Undying at all, and you don't really want to be aggro versus aggro. I think if you're compLexity, you're looking to dodge that lane.
Well, now Ursa comes out, so if Freedom get that good lane versus Terrorblade, they also have a hero that can solo the Void pretty easily.
Yeah, their lanes are looking really good on Freedom. Ursa safe, aggro try, wait for their matchup mid. Actually, they're yeah. What does he likes to play? What Mirana, Tinker sometimes.
For cancel, you mean?
Yeah. Invoker.
We saw the Naga, but I don't think he... Obviously, you're not going to run Naga with Terrorblade.
Yeah, he wouldn't play it either. And those are both Justin heroes. And the Kunkka. Kunkka would actually be really good for them.
Yeah, Kunkka can definitely give them some good setup. Right now, they only have the Chrono to start fights. And that's a pretty hefty commitment against the lineup where you really need to be ideally chronoing at least the Ursa, if not the Jug as well.
Yeah. I'm not sure if they want another melee. And also, it's not super great versus the Juggernaut because he has spin. So maybe turning for a ranged option. I think Mirana's pretty good. They don't have any way to lock down a Mirana. I guess you can just wait to see what Freedom picks though.
And they do have one more grab here to go. Already the support's picked up. And I was going to say looking for a mid, but it doesn't look like they're... It looks like they will be running either the Ursa or maybe the Jug in that mid lane. So they get a counter to the relocate ganks. Something the Void can, in theory, control, but they don't really have that much burst to kill him inside of a sphere for now.
I prefer the Ursa mid for them and Juggernaut in the tri lane, just because I think Juggernaut can like go in deep on the Terrorblade and not really worry about dying. Ursa, I think, is a way more level start, but it certainly depends on complexity's pick. Any melee hero, I would think Ursa has an easy leg up on, but complexity just draft. Yeah, Kunkka would suffer in that regard. That he wouldn't match up well versus Ursa. I think Mirana's fine, personally.
And do you like that better over the Tinker you mentioned?
Tinker would be alright too, but Tinker's too slow. Like by the time Ursa can do, like by the time you get your bots, Ursa might have already completed first Roche. So
And be like halfway to his blink at least.
yeah, I think you'll just die constantly. Ooh, TA.
There's a brawler.
There is a brawler.
Not the best synergy with the Chrono though.
Yeah, it's I think a strange pick here because it doesn't have that much synergy with the IO. She doesn't really need the attack speed or the sustain. And you don't have like a lockdown. The only way you can relocate is if like Faces Void gets a Chronosphere or if Leshrac has a Yule set up for a relocate, but that's unlikely considering the position of the Leshrac, and they already have a lot of physical damage with the Terror Blade, and I'm surprised to see them commit even more with the TA. But she is good at keeping tabs on Roche with the traps. Maybe that's something that they're looking for, and great physical damage. You can just maybe straight up kill a Tide before he even is able to get out of anything.
And aside from that, I guess then we start to look at the laning setup here. We already discussed how complexity will struggle against in a 3v3 potential safe lane.
Yeah.
So you mentioned looking to dodge. Does that mean a Terrorblade off lane?
I think you just do. I think both teams. I think complexity should aggro, and Team Freedom expecting the aggro should go aggro themselves. That was, or other way around. Freedom should aggro, and complexity expecting aggro should go aggro. That's, I think, would be a safe bet. But they're actually putting the Faces Void in the safe lane, and Moo will be taking the Terror Blade. So I guess some role swappage here.
That's interesting.
Maybe Justin is moving to off lane position. I'm not sure. I don't believe I've ever seen Moo play Terror Blade. He's not really an off lane hero, just because that hero does not. He just needs a lot of farm and XP. I guess a lot of offlaners do, but sometimes you get really starved for farm, which Terror Blade would. That's not your ideal hero for that.
I mean, surely it's the TA mid, right? So
Yeah.
that would put Moo in a dual lane off lane, I guess, and they with the 3 Fairy Fires here.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to switch to like more of an alliance style. Like with their position 3 getting way more farm and their position 1 being more the initiation, like the Centaur, the Slardar, in this case the Void. But I don't know. At least they have like a month to experiment before the major hits, and this is the right time to do it.
All right, a little skirmish here for the runes, and complexity will snag both. Good timing there by the Swindle stun. Sets up Justin to grab it. So now Jubei going to get active here. Does have the point in decay. He just starts manning up, but only the one hero decay, and with 2 enemies hitting him, he may just be feeding a first blood. Could have chased there with the time wall cooling down, but
If they chased him, he would have been able to get a double decay off. So not worth it for them. They would miss maybe like 1.5 creeps in the first wave.
so already Moo engaging with the level 1 Metamorphosis, wants to harass BSJ. Has gone for the early Stout Shield, so definitely expecting some amount of pressure in the lane.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what Freedom expected, because they certainly saw which players playing what hero. So what would you expect if you were Freedom? You saw, okay, Justin's on the Faceless Void and Moo is on the Terror Blade. Would they expect like 1-1-3 with Void in the off lane? Like what? I'm still not particularly sure what they would expect.
I first would have expected them to swap back.
Yeah,
but
that's true
once
too.
you see they haven't done that, I guess I can't recall the last time I saw Moo in the safe lane.
And we've definitely Tomato. Oh my goodness, he is getting so low from. He almost got splashed right there.
Yeah, got to be careful not to get that self canceled.
And Moo can certainly play Faces Void. We've seen that a fair amount of times. So that's not. It's not a hero by hero case, I believe, because I believe Justin has played Oh, he's getting spun on mid. Cancel. He has Fairy Fire.
The bait, looking for that tower turnaround, but Tomato plenty tanky with the poor man's shield. So cancel will survive, but now a level 2 Blade Fury. If he had the level 2, I think that would have been a kill. Cancel definitely needs to be careful.
Yeah, I think he could have refracted. And he didn't even bother because he knew he was safe.
So this matchup, I mean, generally TA beats most melee heroes, but given like the spin is so good against refraction, does Jug
fine.
actually do well here?
I think Jug has trouble CSing versus TA. Just too much damage with the refraction. It's very difficult to deal with, even with a Quelling Blade on Tomato.
Well, cancel. Not going to get that 1v1. Zombie Man comes in.
That was really close. If Tomato were in position, he could have spun and they could have gone for the kill. I don't think he had mana for refraction. Probably wouldn't have until he
Suddenly a tri-lane
spun.
mid. This hate on cancel. Poor fella. He is going to go down. And the first blood will go to Tomato. Nice movement there by Fluff. Jubei kind of showing himself and then almost lulled him into a false sense of security.
Yeah, it's not so bad for him though. Z-Freak didn't get the Ancient stack, but he bought his bottle right before he died, and maybe he got pulled a TP scroll from somebody else, from Z-Freak. So he's right back in the lane, and not even that much experience was lost because Wisp was there to take up the reins.
And we've seen some really explosive performances from Cancel as of late to throw this complexity squad on his back. But meanwhile, bottom lane, stun onto IX Mike Swindles. Engaging. There are 10 stick charges here on Justin. So don't really think there's too much of a kill opportunity.
I like the Ooh pickup on the Faceless Void. It really helps with versus the Cracking Shell on the Tidehunter if you want to harass him down. But Faceless Void, and he might be in a pickle here. There is no Tombstone up on Undying, which makes the tower dive much harder, and there is not really that much mana left on the Tide. So, and he has another set of regen. Okay, he's A-okay.
Well, score 1-0 in favor of Freedom at the 4-minute mark, but the CS pretty heavily slanting the way of complexity. So overall, I imagine relatively even. Actually, not even. They're just winning convincingly with all that extra CS. Mike getting slaughtered here by the Hadoukens on the creeps, and Justin time walking after him, but a little backup comes in from Jubei. And Mike will end up retreating to safety. Meanwhile, cancel.
Swindles could die here too. If he's not careful, he can easily get decayed into Soul Rip, but he will TP home and play it safe. Luttrek is not known for his strength.
How has Swindles been transitioning into the support role so
Sometimes
far?
he feeds a lot, sometimes he does very well. And I'm not sure exactly what makes the difference. I've seen like his Warlock game just completely useless, and I've seen him just mesh very well with the team. And then I think Luttrek he plays much better than the other heroes because it doesn't seem like he has to, like he can shot call and split push as opposed to shot call and execute into the team fight as well. There might be undue stress from him playing a hero like Warlock because you have to be really careful about your rock timing and your fatal bonds. With Luttrek, you just generally follow after someone else. And he has a lot more items to play with. So
do you like him more on like the pretty heavy, like potential to farm well type supports, or?
I prefer him on if he doesn't lose his lane, which it depends on. It's very very hero dependent though, and like very matchup dependent. But the problem is they pick his hero very early. They almost always pick his hero like the first 3 picks, so they know what supports are going to be up against, and then they draft around it. So that's why I think he loses his lanes more often than he should. Yeah. Oh man, bottom lane there is.
Swindle's getting bullied here. Mike wants to have a piece of this action, but in comes the IO, and it turns out Mike is going to die.
See,
baited in.
This way they play around the Luttrek. They're supporting him rather than him supporting the other heroes. So it just works out better that way. Just because generally you think of Luttrek as a super easy kill. He has 600 HP. And no escape really, aside from a really long cast point splitter. But looks like they will mop up the rest of these neutrals. Tidehunter not going to be happy about that.
Will they even get there in time for the experience? Looks like Mike does make it in for some of the big creeps, but all that gold going to complexity. They will clean up all the big creeps and almost the entire stack, really. Tombstone was also committed for that, on cooldown for 15.
He used time time walk to get out of one anchor smash.
Well, he has another one soon. Should be okay.
Yeah, he's out of region though. That's not
Get
really
bullied
what
pretty
you wanna
hard. Maybe we'll see some feather or ferried back out. English is a hard language, Ben.
be. I think you can just get the Wisp can come in and save him.
I think I did too much casting with Lumi this weekend. I love you, Lumi. But yeah, so the offlane Terrorblade, he's getting a lot. 40 CS. Now just 1v1ing the Ursa. Doesn't seem like he's really having any trouble. Oh, I say he's 1v1ing. All of a sudden their tri-lane goes top, but he's doing really well. Shutting down the Ursa, not too much. He's CSing well in his own right, but BSJ not finding those early kills that we often see the Fuzzy Wuzzy look for. They're even going to bring Mike in top. BSJ no TP. They're just going to run in, but the IO is here. The orbs come out. They're going to commit that Metamorph as well as try to slow him down with the reflection, but Mike will make it away.
He's having a tough time hitting the stuns on Swindles. Top lane.
They don't really have the best setup, I guess, to be fair.
Yeah, maybe that's why he got the Oov and the Faceless Void. Help
I thought you meant
slow
on
him.
Swindles. I'm like, what?
no.
Swindles has an Oov?
4% would not help.
Yeah,
It'd be much better for him to get a Lace.
Yeah. Gotta get that Lace. That's like the ultimate value. Well, BSJ will be forced off the lane for now, phasing into the woods. Still no Ravage here for Freedom, and it really does feel like without the Ravage, they struggle to hold these towers. compLexity trying to push that advantage. And right as the Metamorph is about to end, the tower falls. So they get the tower, Aquila, and Windlace completed. He's having an excellent time. And oh, by the way, there is a TA in this game. We didn't really talk about her. Dare I say it. I almost forgot she was in the game, and that's exactly what compLexity want. Haven't stacked the Ancients, though. Freedom did a good job of warding those and didn't get dewarded, or at least wasn't being stacked during that time anyway.
They're putting a lot of pressure on the towers, and Cancel's able to do whatever he wants. He just placed a trap in a Roche, so even with a smoke, Ursa will not be able to take it down very quickly. They need the support to drop a sentry in there beforehand so that he can walk in there unbeknownst. However, he has already shown his Morbid Mask. I think, like, as an Ursa, it's the Roche timing is like really difficult to do. Like they can smoke right now, but they already saw the Morbid Mask and they already have the trap. So there's no way they can do it without compLexity already being there. Tidehunter does have his Ravage, so they can bully them out at the moment, and there is level 6 on the Faceless Void. They do have the Chronosphere up, and they do have, they actually do not have the Relocate on IO, so this could be a really good time for them to go. And BSJ, he's going to pre-enrage, goes in, and he sees a trap, and what is he going to do? Okay, now they know. What are they going to do now? Do they have any Tome on IO? Are they both going to TP home and relocate? What is going to happen? Because they can't get all the heroes down here right now. Well,
They're going to hit the creeps for now. That appears to be the call. Moo with the Bracer also complete. IO is very close
Chrono on bottom.
level 6. And meanwhile, the bubble gets dropped. Omni-Slash coming out during this time. Swindles down, and the rest of Freedom on the chase. And meanwhile, they move into the pit. The relocate's there. 3 heroes coming in. BSJ has been caught out, but he pops that ultimate, tries to stay alive, has the extra HP regen. He snatches the Aegis. The Radiant get the kill. The Aegis immediately blown, but now the Ravage. Beautifully placed by X Mike. Unfortunately, 2 of those heroes get relocated back to safety. Cancel TP's out and away. He will get lifted. Looks like he might be the prize here. Refraction has worn off, so 1 Anchor Smash will finish the trick, but that's all they get. They commit the Ravage. They do not stop the Ursa from snatching the Aegis, but they do get the Roshan kill. And then compLexity, the rest of the heroes, they get away.
BSJ made a really good play there by committing for the Roche, because it's very difficult to last hit when you have like 20 stacks of Fury Swipes on there. Even with Meld, like if you miss Meld, then you're
Oh man,
LMAO.
the LMAO comes out.
Empty. Yeah, I just accidentally mistyped that sometimes on my keyboard too.
Yeah. So for those who missed the pregame banter, I'll fill you in. So basically,
There was a lot going on.
yeah, there was a lot going on there. Mike started it off by asking, how long until a forfeit win? Like, how long before we can DQ call? This was like before the official scheduled time, or like 1 minute after. Admin said 30 minutes. And then Swindles had a little retort, which we'll check out when things slow down here, but looks like Freedom are looking to defend this tower. Justin jumping away back to safety. So yeah, Swindles fires back with good Lord Mike. One of these days you're going to wake up and be 30, and you're still going to need to grow the fuck up. Mike just savages him with a I am 30. So then all of a sudden compLexity is 5 and Freedom doesn't. And, you know, Swindles turns around and he's like, so when do we get a forfeit win? And it's still like 20 minutes to go. Now we're in the game, but the banter continues, Ben. Some real big personalities here in the NA region. Can they back it up with their play, though? We'll have to see.
I don't know.
You're just stunned into silence by all those epic comebacks.
Oh, I already saw them. Juggernaut's really underfarmed. He's 2-0, but his CS is his net worth is like 2K below the Terrorblade, and just a Roshan offset shouldn't be enough. But however, 3 towers, and this is a lot to do with Electric. Another missed stun by Swindle.
You're not kidding about these missed stuns. That one was on a hero TPing into the lane. Now Swindle's going for the TP out. Omni will not kill him in time as it bounced to a creep after that first slash. I think if he Omni'd sooner there, they do get the kill. So Freedom with the missed opportunity by Tomato.
Yeah.
It looked like maybe he thought he could get the kill without the Omni, and then he's like, oh shit, I'm going to need to use it, but
both teams
by that time it was too late.
Missed opportunities, though. Swindles with another missed stun. I guess he just has to wait for Chronosphere, or then it'd be slowed by CA Trap or something. But
I'm surprised there wasn't
difficult.
like a BM pause from the Undying from Jubei at that point.
Nah, he's not a BMer. IX Mike's the BMer.
Mike BM pauses on his behalf then. Give me a proxy BM.
He probably wasn't watching there. I think he was doing Ancients. Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually trying to win the game. Swindles. All right, that stun's going to hit, but it's on an Ursa who's enraged and has Raindrop, so he shrugs it off. Now the lift, the toss back down. Tomato, though.
Oop, no Omni Slash.
Not looking to go in against that level 4 Edict.
All he had to do was commit the Omni Slash earlier to the left track on bottom or commit it right there, but now they lost control of their jungle. They lost their T2 tower, and this is really bad. Terrorblade has been able to use Metamorphosis and get something every single time, and this Chronosphere has been stolen.
Looks like they want to make a move on the bottom lane. Moo getting caught out here. Trying to turn the fight around as the Io's already fallen down. Does manage to get off the Sunder, and now the Chrono gets dropped on top of the corpse of IX Mike, marking the spot where compLexity lay victorious. 4 heroes now falling. At first it looked okay for Freedom, but man, that turned around real quick. Cancel just coming in and helping to clean up with a kill on the Undying and the Rubik at the end.
Can't underestimate the relocate, but my suspicions of Justin switching to a more teamfighting role may be confirmed with his Vlad's pickup. This is not a typical pickup of a carry Void. It's way more of a sign of like the position 3 Void. So
that is kind of reminiscent of how DC was playing a bit at TI, where he would farm a lot on heroes like, you know, Timbersaw, for example. Even the team fight controllers, like he spent a lot of time farming. He didn't come to fights, you know, as much as some other offlaners. So
at least he still played the team fight hero, though. This game with a Terrorblade, it's a much more drastic, I would say, transition than what it was on DC. It's not the same. They drop a Sentry Ward to get brief vision of him, maybe Fluff, hoping to interrupt the TP, but he just casually time walks away.
Yeah, not going to find that opening as Moo moves in. As the Dragonlance already going to work here on BSJ, who, alright, thought he was AFK for a second there. Will TP out. Has to use the ulti to get away, and Cancel just starting to really get aggressive now. Blinking after the refraction, drops the trap, they move on in, looking for the bash on Tomato, they get one. Do they get another? They don't need it. compLexity slam down the Jug.
Yeah, this Jug is way too poor. 50 minutes in, his items are non-existent. He has a Blade of Alacrity on the chicken, and that is pretty much it.
Oh, Swindle, there you go. Nails the stun on Jubei, and Jubei down, just getting burst by the support Leshrac. Things really looking better and better for compLexity as time goes on. Now about a 14,000 gold lead, about a 7k experience advantage. They're split pushing with the TA. They're farming all the lanes. They're now breaking high ground. They have the 3 highest heroes in terms of net worth. This is looking pretty bleak for Freedom in game number 1, to be honest. And now Mike, he's going to try to put a cherry on top by just TPing into the Chronosphere and the Lesh stun. That one also being nailed. They'll find the tower too.
And he didn't even have Ravage when he TP'd in. He had 5 seconds left on cooldown. So this is a disaster.
It's not looking great here as Moo moves in and tries to finish off that tombstone. Will bring it down relatively quickly. And now turns on to Tomato, who also is just going to melt. Blown up They chase forward, looking for Jubei as well. He's going to go back towards the well. Tries for the decay. Doesn't matter. Chunked down by Moo. The off-lane Terrorblade City at 10.5k net worth. I think that's where it was that, like 600, 700 gold, 600 gold per minute at 17 minutes in. Completely out of hand. That's with a mech now picked up on Swindles as well. The items just continue to pile in. Give a completed Hurricane Pike to him, a Desolator to the TA, and I mean, surely the next Roche is going to be heavily contested by Team compLexity, if just not outright theirs to grab.
I think one thing that compLexity did very well this game was aggressively farm. Faceless Void was constantly like near the Ancients, near the large camp above the Ancients, and Moo was aggressively pushing towers, using Metamorphosis almost every time on cooldown, just to squeeze out as much farm in their lanes and challenging Freedom to come kill them. And if they devoted too many resources, then the Wisp would come in. If they didn't vote anything, then they would get out farmed. But Freedom, they hadn't really done that. Like, the Juggernaut was 2-0. He hadn't died, but he also hadn't farmed at all. And BSJ was also trying to farm, but he's kind of the only one that's farming out because Tidehunter is doing the Ancients.
This is a bold maneuver. Swindles gets off the mech and is going to live through the Omni Slash and the Ravage. They even committed there. They do get the secondary kill as Justin stuck around for a while. Gets focused down. Fluff, good steal on the Split Earth, able to help secure that kill. And now Cancel starting to chase out BSJ. He has the DD rune picked up. Ursa just running for his dear life. By the way, Z-Freak, he's getting pretty farmed, man. He's got a Talisman of Evasion here on the IO, and obviously kind of the 5 position in terms of farm priority this game, but
the heck.
yeah, a lot of physical damage on Freedom.
I'm not sure if he's going, what, Halberd or Solar? Usually you get the Medallion first.
Solar would be great with
Solar's
Terrorblade as well.
Solar's great here. Especially versus, like, the Gush, too. But yeah, all they need is really 5 people to show up for the next fight. Freedom, they have a mech on Tidehunter, but that's pretty much the only team fight item that they have. Ursa's still kind of poor, can't really deal with the Terrorblade, nor can he deal with the TA. There's a lot of minus armor coming out. There's no Vlads. There's just an Aquila up right now. No Greaves, which would also help for that extra armor. And Moo pops the smoke.
Well, they are going to move in here. Justin just looking for that big chrono. Jubei caught out of position. Down goes the zombie again, and now they move on to the high ground straight forward. Moo going to focus that tomb down. It falls and turn back for the big buildings here. There is no Ravage available. A minute without it. Rubik only a stolen Split Earth. The casual victory smoke comes out because compLexity just have no fear at this point. They'll bring down the next melee rack. Still Freedom not even attempting a real defense. They get the 2 heroes stun. They don't have an Omni for 5 seconds, and that means they're going to lose this Rax, even if they can somehow take the fight, and that's not going to happen. Justin with the chrono onto IX. Mike will get that kill. Bubble gets stolen. No mana to use it as the Arcane Boots can drop it now, but Tomato's already dead. The chrono's really good from Fluff, although it does catch Mike out, but doesn't really matter. Mike's still in trouble. Chunked down by Cancel. Make it 3. Buyback on the Ursa. Going to be 4 soon. That Watermelon about to get chopped up and finished off. He will retreat back to the well, but Jubei right back into the meat grinder. Chased by Moo. Slowed down by the reflection, and
good
Jubei
game.
Calls it a complete spanking here in game number 1.
Yeah, a little bit of switching of roles by compLexity. That was the, I think, most interesting thing to me this game. I think Justin actually played very well on the Faceless Void. He died like a couple of times that was kind of like close calls, but no real glaring errors, and he was always there with his team. He had pretty decent chronos, and he built team fight items, and at the same time they really allowed Moo to beat the position 1 this game. So that's kind of cool. I wonder if that streak is going to continue. I actually think they will have a better shot at the major if they do that personally. So I'm not sure who made that call, but that is something that's cool to see, because you usually don't see teams like change that drastically until after they do poorly. But this team, they like can foresee themselves like maybe not doing too well at the major, so they're trying to preemptively make changes to perform well.
Yeah, relatively small sample size here. Definitely some miscues from the Freedom side in this particular game, but so far so good for compLexity, trying to stay alive in the lower bracket here for the Dota Pit North American qualifiers. Guys, this is a best of 3 and an elimination match, so game 2 coming up shortly. I'm LD, he's Merlini. We'll be back.
gaming bets, online betting for every esports fan. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, CSGO and Overwatch, StarCraft 2, the choice is yours. Express bets for multiple matches or live bets on the game you are watching right now. Know your way around Dota 2? Make a prediction for picks and bans.
Playing CSGO? Guess the number of rounds in a certain match.
Daily quest for all participants and all the best choice of payment systems. More than 600,000 users have already made their bets on the spectacular matches since 2011. EGB.com. You know for sure who's gonna win.